Eli Rourke didn't believe in anything beyond what he could measure. As a structural engineer, his life revolved around calculations, foundations, and stress tolerances, not ghosts, not whispers, and definitely not breathing basements. He was hired by a restoration group to assess the integrity of the Tanner farmhouse, a forgotten property buried deep in the rural backroads of North Dakota. The last known resident had vanished in 1974, and the place hadn't been touched since. The first thing Eli noticed when he arrived was that the grass around the house refused to grow. The second thing, there were no windows in the basement, but he could still feel air moving down there. The farmhouse groaned, like something alive. Old wood shifted beneath his boots. Inside, cobwebs swayed, though there was no draft. The walls were stained with yellow-gray smears like old tears running down a face. He walked the ground floor, marking damage on his clipboard. But something gnawed at him, a sound, very faint, just under the range of conscious thought. Thump, hiss, thump, hiss, It was rhythmic, like breathing. Eli found the basement door sealed with 9 bolts. Why 9? And why were some on the outside of the door? He smiled to himself nervously. He muttered. They were scared of mold or rats. Still, he hesitated before unlocking it. As the final bolt clicked, a low exhale came from behind the door. He paused. Must be pressure releasing. He opened it. The darkness below wasn't normal. It was dense, like it had weight. His flashlight cut through it, barely illuminating a long set of stone steps that as he descended, the sound got clearer, breathing slow, steady, alive. He reached the basement floor and swept his light across the room. The walls were stone, but slick like they'd been sweating for decades. Shelves lined with old jars, books, cracked porcelain dolls, and then, at the far end of the room, a hole, perfectly circular, not a dugout hole, but as if the ground had peeled itself open. It was breathing in, out, in, out. The soil around the rim throbbed softly. Eli leaned over it. Bad idea. From the darkness came a whisper, not sound, but vibration in his chest. You shouldn't be here. He stumbled back, dropping his flashlight. The beam landed on the wall behind him, carved into the stone. Feed IT or seal IT, never look in. The breath behind him paused. Then something moved in the hole, not crawled, not climbed, just rose. Eli didn't wait. He scrambled up the stairs, slammed the door, and bolted it shut with all 9 latches back in his truck. He tried calling his team. No signal. Even his compass didn't work. It spun in lazy circles. He looked back at the house. The upstairs window was now open, but he hadn't opened any. And behind the curtain, something watched him that night. Eli stayed in the truck with his flashlight gripped tight. The sound of breathing never stopped, even when he stuffed his ears, even when he ran the engine. Just breathing, steady and deep, coming from under the ground. Then came the knock. From inside the truck. He turned slowly toward the back seat. It was empty, but pressed against the foggy window was a handprint, small, like a child's. The whisper returned, this time clearer. You saw it, now it sees you. Eli left in the morning, tires spinning through dirt and silence. But no matter how far he drove, the sun never moved. The road bent wrong. Signs vanished, and after 2 hours, he arrived back at the farmhouse. The basement door was wide open. The breathing had become faster. Eli sat behind the wheel, knuckles white, staring at the house that shouldn't be there. He had driven for hours, he was sure, but still. The Tanner farmhouse stood in front of him, unchanged, waiting. The basement door was open now. The breathing was louder, faster, hungrier, and the air around the house buzzed with something thick and ancient, like the hum inside a beehive. You saw it, now it sees you. That whisper hadn't left his ears since the night before. Eli stepped out of the truck. He didn't want to go back inside, but something pulled at him, not physically, mentally, like a hook in his mind, dragging him toward the basement. He entered the house slowly. Dust clung to the air like smoke. The light was dimmer now, like the house itself was holding its breath. He walked toward the open basement door. A trail of wet footprints led down, small ones like a child's, but he was alone, wasn't he? Eli descended the stone steps again, flashlight shaking in his hand. The breathing now filled the entire space. Inhale, exhale, faster, louder, deeper. The hole at the center of the floor was wider now. The soil around it moved like the skin of a giant throat. Books from the shelves had fallen. One was open on the floor, pages stuck with blood. He picked it up and read the old, inked scroll. It wakes hungry. Every 50 years it remembers the eyes that saw it, and it eats them first. He dropped the book. From inside the hole, something began to rise again. A head, but not human, not fully. It was shaped like a skull, but stretched like something, mimicking a face. Flesh pulled tight over bone, no eyes, just black, pulsing holes where they should have been. And it smiled. You opened the seal, it hissed. Now you are the meal. Eli ran, but the stairs were gone, replaced with a wall of flesh. Living flesh. The basement had become something else now. Inside something, the bookshelves were twitching, the walls breathed. He turned and saw the thing climbing from the hole completely. Its arms were too long. Its fingers were raw tendons. Its chest moved like a bellows. It took a step forward, and the basement whispered again. Feed it. or seal it. Eli remembered the carvings. He searched the room, heart pounding. There beneath a pile of collapsed wood, an old metal box sealed in wax. Inside, rusted nails, a bundle of human hair, a strip of skin, and a jagged iron seal etched with strange runes. He didn't know what to do, but his hand moved on its own, grabbing the seal, holding it out. The creature screeched, shriveling back. The walls groaned. The air exploded with static. Eli stepped forward. The runes on the seal began to glow. Back to the dirt, he whispered. Back to the dark. The creature lunged and Eli plunged the seal into the pulsing ground beside the hole. Everything stopped. No more breathing. No more movement. Just silence. Then the hole sealed shut, soil knitting itself like skin. The air grew still. The stairs reappeared. Eli climbed up, trembling. The farmhouse was silent again, as if nothing had ever happened. He locked the basement with all 9 bolts, then carved into the wood with his pocket knife. Sealed again, never open. He got into his truck, not looking back once. This time the road led him home. 3 days later, Eli was sleeping in his apartment. It was 2:47 a.m. He awoke to a familiar sound. In hell, exhale coming from under his bed. He leaned down, terrified. Nothing, but then on the underside of the bedframe he saw it. 9 small bolts arranged in a circle, all slowly unlocking, and something beneath him smiling.